Let's bring in royal commentator in London, Annabelle Sanderson, who joins us live. Annabelle, thank you so much for coming to us from London today.
Pleasure.
Tell us, we've heard that now Harry and William won't be walking together, they'll be separated. Can you tell us what we know about that? Who made that call, what that's going to look like, and what does that mean for any sort of reconciliation that people have been talking about?
Well, I think the Queen has put her foot down, really, hasn't she? With regards to the uniforms, Prince Andrew wanted to go dressed as an admiral in something I can only really describe as a costume because he's not an admiral. And now the two brothers won't be walking next to each other; they'll have their cousin in between them. I imagine the Queen put her foot down and said, "No, this is about my husband. This is about the Duke of Edinburgh. I want eyes to be on him. I want the focus to be on him and his contribution. I don't want them to be on whether William and Harry are, I don't know, elbowing each other or giving each other side glances or the media getting in lip readers or something like that to see what was discussed. She wants the focus to be on her late husband. And I think that's probably a wise move because I think, even without anything to particularly look at, the media and what everyone has been, where's Harry staying? Have they met up? Who's wearing what? And this is the time now. This is about Philip.
And yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. But I want to ask about the question about you wearing military dress because, a lot of these royals have had military service. They do have uniforms, medals, and they would normally be in that sort of regalia. The significance of just mourning suits, what were some of the controversies that they were trying to avoid? Was it about Harry and his leaving the royals? Was it about Prince Andrew and some of his issues?
It was about both of them, I think. Obviously, Prince Andrew hasn't exactly covered himself in glory over the past few years. He wanted to go dressed as an admiral. Now, of course, he did see military service in the Falklands. Again, Harry saw military service in Afghanistan. He was on the front line, and I think he was at his best when he was in the military. The problem is, of course, that he was given the role of Captain General of the Royal Marines, which Prince Philip held for 64 years. He then had to hand that back after, sort of 30 months. He doesn't currently have a role in the military. He is entitled, of course, to wear the medals, which he earned very bravely. Anyone, if you have medals, you can wear them on your suit, and that basically is going to have to be the leveler because Prince Charles, Princess Anne, Prince William, they're all entitled to wear military uniform. It would be Harry sort of standing there, once again being the odd one out.
And tell us about the guest list. I mean, it's obviously limited to 30. There's going to be COVID restrictions. There's not going to be any singing, I understand, even during the service, which you would have expected, I guess, in this sort of ceremony. Was it the Queen herself who made the choices about who was going to be on the list? And are there any notable additions or omissions from that list?
I think it's nice that actually members of Prince Philip's family are there. So there are going to be three cousins, I think. Their names weren't actually familiar to me. And a friend, a long-time confidant of his. Apart from that, it is members of the royal family. The great-grandchildren aren't attending. Most of them are pretty much 10 or under. The decision, I think, would have been made by the Queen. I think actually Philip would have had a say in who he wanted to be involved in his funeral because, of course, COVID, he knew he was dying. COVID restrictions were always not going to be lifted, until further down the line. With regards to singing, I understand there will be 4 people or choristers, I imagine, the very best, singing, including that famous Royal Navy hymn, that says, "For those in peril on the sea." I think it's such a shame they won't be singing, though. They're all going to have to be wearing masks, standing, sort of sitting 6 foot apart. We've got such low numbers now in the UK. I kind of feel that for something like this, maybe we shouldn't just have Her Majesty sitting on her own, mourning her husband of 70 odd years.
And that's surely going to be a very sad and poignant image tomorrow, I can imagine. And I mean, but we have here in Australia seen pictures of people congregating in pubs again. We've seen, life returning to the street. What is the mood in London like right now, not just with some of the restrictions coming off, but also with this very sad news of the Duke of Edinburgh's death and passing? You don't have, obviously, the normal street life you would be having, I guess, for when a royal passes. What is the mood like in London at the moment?
Well, we were told not to leave floral tributes and gather. I'm very proud to say that we ignored that, and we have been leaving. Part of it, my friend lives in Windsor, so a group of us have sort of got together, and he's going to put this massive wreath. Actually, I didn't realize it was going to be so big. Down in Windsor, ready for the funeral. This is a guy who was basically the grandfather of the nation. And yet because on Monday we sort of got a little bit of our life back. Thanks very much, Boris. We can now go and actually see other human beings. I'm sort of slightly abashed to say I haven't actually been to the pub yet. I've only been to the gym, but never mind. I'll get round to it. I think people are actually, they do want to, they will be raising a pint to Philip, and we will be. I think people will be gathering in Windsor. I think they'll be like, COVID rules. Yeah, this is an historic occasion, and we want to say thank you, and we want to show the Queen, but in particular, we want to show the Queen that we're there for her.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk us through that, describe life in London right now. And when you get to the pub, Annabelle, I want you to have one for all of us down here watching you on Sky News Australia. Thank you so much for taking the time.
My pleasure.
Thank you.